Hello and welcome back to my YouTube channel. This is Leslie. Today we're going to make a St. Patrick's Day card. Happy St. Patrick's Day. I actually don't have a whole lot of St. Patrick's Day items in my stash. So these are the only two things I could find. This is Lucky to Know You in the clear stamps and some rainbow stencils from HoneyBee stamps. So we're going to get a little creative with my stash since this is a no buy year. And I just kind of want to show you how you can shop your stash and see what you can create. So we're going to start by doing a lot of ink blending. I'm going to use these colors for the background. We're going to create a little scene, and then of course we're pulling out every color of the rainbow for the stencil rainbow that we're going to create using the Simon Says Stamp saturated inks that I have in my stash. Now I do only use one of these blues and one of these greens, but that's okay. And if you notice, those greens were like Dublin and Lucky, so you know, keep it on with the St. Patrick's theme. And then this is just a rectangle frame die that I have in my stash. It's very old, and so I'm not exactly sure where it came from. But we're just die cutting that in white, and then we're going to go ahead and put it on my waffle flower sticky mat. And then this is what we're going to use as our backdrop. So we're just going to line up some grassy stencils here. And this is from my HoneyBee stamps. And then we're going to mask off the grass that we don't want to have on there. And then we'll go ahead and get started with our green. And I am going to speed up the video here and there just because I am a very slow ink blender. And nobody wants to watch 10 minutes of me trying to ink blend. So I am using Dublin here. And like I said, I end up only doing one green and one blue. Just because I decided I didn't want a whole lot of depth for the background because I really want that foreground to pop where that rainbow is going to be. So there's the reveal of our little grassy hill. And then we're going to add in some clouds. Now, I don't have a stencil that has the mask of the clouds. So our clouds are just going to be a little bluish color. I'm using sea foam. Can totally talk, guys, from Simon Says Stamps, and we're just going to lightly blend into that stencil, just so we kind of get a real good outline of those clouds. And then we're going to go ahead and remove the stencil, and we're going to use the leftover ink that's on my brush and go in between the clouds, just kind of make it more of a blue sky than a white sky. I do add a little bit more ink just because I didn't quite have enough on my brush, but that is the final look for our backdrop, and I just love it. Oh, so cute. All right, so let's go ahead and start with our rainbow. So with the HoneyBee stamps here, stencil, it is in those 6 different parts. So you do have to line it up each time, and then of course mask off the portion that you're not going to use. If you have tinier brushes, use your tiny brushes. I only have one set of brushes, so you know, we got to mask off everything. So I am using Iris as my purple, Cadet as the blue, Lucky, of course, as the green, and then I have the Sunbeam, the Mandarin, and Cherry for the rest of my colors. And I'm going to show you kind of how we have to line up the rainbow here. After you use each color, of course, you got to clean it off, and I'm just using my little rag here to do that. And a beautiful reveal purple. Making sure I'm not ripping off my stencil. That sticky mat is a little too sticky for some of these stencils, just, you know, the delicate ones. So you just line up the next color. So in my rainbows, I did, you know, misalign a little bit, but it was enough that I was okay with it. And then that's my final rainbow. It came out so pretty. And yes, there's a little bit of markings where I forgot to mask, but that's okay. All right, so this is where we're going to get creative. This is actually a die set from Queen & Company, and it's their Halloween monsters. And one of the things is a little cauldron. And then we're going to use some hearts from the Jaded Blossom gnomes. And we are going to make shamrocks. We're going to make our pot of gold. And then, of course, we're going to cut out our rainbow using some arches. So I did mess up a little bit with the alignment, but that's okay. We're just going to bring in a little bit of that iris color and a little bit of that cherry color and get those edges of that rainbow there just to finish it off so there's not so much white. Just brushing it using the leftover ink on my brush. So no big deal. Looks fantastic. Now I am going to go ahead and emboss a panel here. This is just my 4.5 by 5 panel. I just wanted some texture in the back, and so I just sprayed it, put it through my die cutting machine to emboss it, and it came out beautifully. And then we're just going to use some tape adhesive to put it down here. I just wanted a little bit more texture in my backdrop. And then we'll bring in my little background scene here. Go ahead and tape that down as well, right there in the middle. And then I am going to go ahead and do the Lucky to Know You. I'm going to emboss that onto the actual pot. And so we're going to stamp that with a Versamark ink once we get it completely lined up. I am using some masking tape just to make sure that cauldron stays where it's supposed to. Making sure that it's going to line up well. And then we are going to go ahead and stamp that. Of course, I like Versamark ink. I also have Simon Says Stamp Clear ink. It's just kind of what's closest to me that I grab. And then we're going to stamp that probably a couple times. But wait, don't forget to put some anti-static powder on your little image if you're going to be embossing. Otherwise, you will have a big mess. And I apparently touch my shapes a lot, so if I don't use anti-static powder, I will end up with all the embossing powder everywhere, not just on my sentiments. So gotta use that anti-static powder, guys. And then just gonna stamp it a couple times, and then I just pull out a piece of copy paper. You can see there's a bunch of stamping and that kind of thing. Sometimes if I'm wanting to do shadow stamping or something like that, or second generation stamping, I stamp on that and then stamp on the actual card. So I just use this as my copy paper behind it, and I love how gold shows up on this black, guys. It's just so pretty to watch the magic of embossing powder. And then I'm just going to use a microfiber cloth to get that anti-static powder off and get my cardstock back to the beautiful black color that it was. All right, and then we are going to go ahead and use liquid glue to get the outline of our little cauldron. I keep calling it cauldron because that's what it is, but of course in this case it's going to be our little pot of gold. And this, I could have turned it into a shaker card because that's what it originally supposed to be. But I decided I didn't want to go that route with this particular card. So you just kind of get that fun detailing of the stitching on the outline there. And then the cauldron does come with this little bubbly piece. It's supposed to be like your potion that is bubbling out, or the witch that falls in the cauldron or something like that. I am actually going to do something special with that, so you'll see that in a little bit. I do want to actually line up this rainbow with the edge of my backdrop, and since I did use that frame for that background, I am going to die cut my rainbow with that frame, just so the bubbling scallop edge, there we go, lines up beautifully. And plus then it keeps some of that stitch detailing. So we're just going to use some liquid glue to put that down. I'm lining it up as I go. I'm making sure that I don't go too high because I don't want to take away from the stitching at the very, very top. So I needed it to be low enough that it didn't cover that, and then make sure that it lines with the scalloped edge. And then we are going to bump up our little pot of gold with some foam tape just to give it some more depth and really make it look like the rainbow is going into that pot of gold. And of course, I use my acrylic block for everything when it comes to glue, guys, to really make sure everything seals down and dry as well. And then I did cut out a bunch of those hearts in a couple different green colors of cardstock, and so I'm just turning those hearts into little clovers there. And then I'm showing you there that we're using Queen & Co. Some embellishments that actually come with the Halloween die set that I'm using, and we are going to turn these into our little gold coins. So, and it's going to be bubbling over with gold coins. And you will notice in the top right hand corner, I did do a 4-leaf clover there because, you know, those are the ones that are lucky. And so I had to represent that somewhere on my card. So that is my final card. I love how it came out, and just I love getting some inspiration for how you can use things already in your stash to make some different cards. So I hope you guys have a lovely St. Patrick's Day. Be safe, have a lot of green things, don't get pinched. If you liked this video, please like, subscribe, hit that bell, and I will see you in the next video soon. Bye!